As a professional psychologist, I have some ideas for you today about how to fix your marriage, the do's and the don'ts. Some of what I will share with you will be counterintuitive to some couples, and that's why they get it wrong. Listen through to the end so that you catch all of the do's and all of the don'ts that I have to share. Do, start with a focus on what's right. This changes the energy of your interactions, and it sets us up to actually do some very productive things. I've had enough couples in my office to know this for sure. When one or the other comes in with the hope of fixing their spouse, how does the spouse feel? How would you feel if you were dragged into a shrink's office? Hey, doc, fix my spouse. That doesn't feel good, and it sets up a natural resistance. We can make the upgrades. I'm totally confident that we can do some things to improve your marriage, and you know it could be improved. Start with focusing on what's right, what's going well, what's working. As we focus on what's right, what's going well, we have a better starting point. Think about it. What's the shortest distance to better? If we start from good or if we start from bad? Yeah, pick a different starting place. Don't focus on what's wrong. Do assume positive intent. I recently interviewed Emil Harker on my podcast. He wrote a book called You Can Turn Conflict into Closeness. And the first point that he shared with me is this one. Assume positive intent. Assume that they have your best interest at heart. Assume that they love you and care for you. Can you see how this could be a little difficult if you're in conflict? I have found that this is a safe assumption because everybody that I interview, everybody that I talk to or provide coaching for is in the same place. They want good things. They want their life to improve, not get worse. They want their relationships to improve. With all the couples that I've worked with in my office over the years, they both want things to improve. Nobody wants things to get worse. If you assume that somebody's out to get you or that they intend to hurt you, you will show up differently. This changes the energy of the whole interaction to assume positive intent, assume the best, that they want good things for themselves and for you, and that will get us off on a really great foot. Don't assume evil intent. Do practice humility. Quick definition from a psychologist. Humility is giving up our need to be right in exchange for being open. A friend of mine, Brett Williams, wrote a book called You Can Be Right or You Can Be Married. I did a video with him here on the channel. I love that concept because in my experience clinically, most of the couples who are in conflict over what Brett calls the right fight. It's about who's right instead of what's right. There are principles that will allow you to fix your marriage. As long as you're focused on who's right, we don't get to what's right and those principles. If you want to watch that video where I had Brett join me here on the channel, click on that card. It will queue it up for you to watch next. Don't insist on being right. Do express appreciation. The literature on this is really compelling. Gratitude has a powerful healing and upgrading influence on relationships. Find what you're grateful for. In fact, if you will do this, you probably won't even need to hire me as your marriage coach. I call it 25-5. This is an exercise where you find the gratitude in your relationship. So for 5 days, that's the 5 part, make a written list of 25 things for which you are sincerely grateful. Now here's what powers it up. At least half of that list is about your spouse or your marriage. At least half. Find what you're grateful for, and don't repeat anything on tomorrow's list that was on today's. Let's stretch a little bit. Come up with a whole new list every day. At least half of your list is about your spouse or your marriage, things that you are sincerely grateful for. This will help to put you in a position that you can improve your marriage. This is a little bit of a paradox. My clinical experience tells me that the best way to get an upgrade in your relationship is to realize first that you don't need one, that it's already good, it's rich, it's abundant. This puts you in a whole different position as you approach your spouse to collaboratively create some upgrades. It's really powerful. Also, when you're focused on gratitude, you're expressing yourself in a way that doesn't come across as criticism or judgment. Don't judge or criticize. Do work on yourself. This is one of the counterintuitive ones that I warned you about at the beginning. It feels unnatural to turn toward yourself. Be humble enough to trust me on this. The thing that does not work is to come in with a laundry list of everything that your spouse needs to improve or change. And this is really misleading to people because, as a matter of fact, you're right. When you think, oh, this marriage would be so much better if my spouse would just... And then you list all of the improvements that your spouse could make to improve this marriage. And you're right. I'm going to give it to you. This marriage would be better if your spouse would shape up. It's true. And it's not useful. Because as soon as you identify what somebody else could change or improve, you're met with resistance and defensiveness. Do you see this? Have you had enough experience to see that that is true? And if not, trust my experience, because as I have worked with couples, that is the top thing that I have to get them to shift on, to work on themselves instead of their spouse. And I'm going to tell that to both of the spouses, because you both could use some improvement. And if you're not sure what you could improve, you haven't been listening to your spouse, because your spouse is probably giving you some ideas. Make some mental notes about that, and you already know there's things you get to work on. You know, I have people all the time who tell me, I know I'm not perfect, but... And then they go on to list all the ways their spouse is not perfect. Just stay in front of your but, okay? You don't need to go to what you just said after the but. I know I'm not perfect. Therefore, I get to work on some things to be a better spouse. Become the spouse that you want to have, with all of those traits and characteristics and attributes that you're hoping to see in your spouse. You become that. You work on that and get really good at being the best spouse you could possibly be. Don't list the changes you need to see in your spouse. You've been appropriately warned. I joked earlier that maybe you don't even need to hire me as your marriage coach, but you know what? There are resources available to you that might even be more powerful and far less expensive. Go to Live on Purpose Central. The website is go.liveonpurposecentral.com, and you'll find abundant resources there to help you with this and all of your other key relationships. I look forward to seeing you there.